Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Wednesday, January the 4th. Yes, that's right, I said Wednesday. I regularly film on Sunday, and Sunday was New Year's Day, and the day just got away from me, and then a few life things happened, and then I was just like, I have to get it done. I will say, it takes a lot longer getting ready for a WIP parade than I thought it was, but anyway, I've done all my checking. I'm pretty sure I have all of my WIPs ready to go so that we can see where I'm starting the year at. It will be fascinating to see where I end the year at. The weather here has been decent, so there's been no more car issues. I haven't need to have help from the snowboy for anything, so it's nice not being in the freezing depths of winter. The temperatures have been reasonable for winter time, so that's all very positive from my perspective. So thank you to the several of you that posted comments on last week's video about the tips I was looking for my nails, which seem to, if you look at them the wrong way, they're breaking. So some of them were, you know, vitamin D. I do have vitamin D in my vitamin pill, so but I might need to up that. Jay had several, which there are some on your list I'm looking into to see if I can get them in Canada. That Swiss Hair, Skin, and Nails Daily Tablet, that sounds interesting. You know, collagen, he's got several suggestions in there. And then Lala had a really good comment about nail oil and the use of nail oil relative to what happens with your nails and the amount of water that they can retain. And apparently I need a drink. That was a great comment, and I loved reading it. It explained everything, so now I'm gonna actually have to look into it and try it out and see how it works. For me, the interesting thing is that I wouldn't say that, you know, yes, winter is always harder on your hands, and I get that. But I've lived in a wintry climate for quite some time now. So you'd think that, you know, it's just for some reason this winter I feel like if I look sideways at my nail, something happens to it. But anyway, so thanks for all the suggestions. I will be trying to start trying some stuff out this month, so I'll let you know if I come up with anything stupendous. So Christiane, yes, thank you for your comment. Yes, my dad and the snowboy, unbelievable blessings. Very, very grateful to them. They were both wonderful. And then Marjorie, who's working on the Marbeck Nativity, good on ya, because that's a project. And you have the frame. Now, she says she's older than I am, and she's not sure she's going to get it finished in her lifetime. This is going to sound really horrible, but I'm going to say it anyway. Work on it periodically, a little bit every month. You'll be surprised at how far you can go. But whatever you do, when you die, please put a note with the frame to have them put a post on Facebook in the Marbeck Nativity group. There's a Facebook group for that. The people in there are desperately trying to find frames. So I would hate for a Marbeck Nativity frame to be just like shunted off somewhere where nobody knows what to do with it, and like that's a valuable commodity. The people in that group will pay for that thing. So please don't let your family just sort of go, what is this weird looking frame? Please leave explicit instructions with it. If they post it on Facebook, they'll be surprised at how much they can get for it on there. Anyway, yes, so those are the comments from last week's video. Let's talk about, we're into January. So I'm going to talk about the stitching that I did up to the end of 2022. I know so if I were filming this on Sunday, you wouldn't see any of the 2023 starts because I wouldn't have done anything. So I'm treating this, even though I'm filming it late on the Wednesday, I'm treating it as if I did it on Sunday. So you're going to see my stitching up to the end of 2022. So what did I work on those last couple of weeks? And this is how bad it's going because I didn't get them out and organized. And I've got things piled up. 27 ways to Sunday. Okay, see, crash bang, here it comes. Oops, we'll get through this somehow. See, it's just going every which way. All right. See, it's because I'm not filming on a Sunday. Okay, so I should, where's my picture? So I know in the last video I talked about that there were 2 Christmas whips that I was going to try and work on, and that didn't end up happening. I only worked on one of them. And so this is Quaker Christmas II by ByGone Stitches. Yes, Quaker Christmas II Song of the Seasons by ByGone Stitches. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished some decade. And I picked on this one predominantly because I went, there's only 2 colors. Maybe I can get more done on it. I'm not sure that that's necessarily accurate, but, and it's because I forgot what fabric I'm doing it on. So I am stitching this on a 32 count Sage Green Lugana, and I am using the Called for Gentle Arts fibers. So this is what it looks like. There you go. So what did I work on? You haven't seen this in a really, really long time. So what did I get done? So I did the Oh Come All. So really I had this was all done previously, and sort of this bottom border to about there was done. So I did the Oh Come All. I finished filling in this motif, did the star, this, it came upon a midnight clear, this, the stocking, this, and then did this. Yes, there's another big motif that goes up here at the top, but it was me. I just went, I'm down here with the stocking. I just want to get this done. I really need to go back up and start this one, but anyway. And I forgot to check in Markup RXP how many stitches I did on this, so hopefully next week I'll remember to figure that out. The other interesting thing about Markup RXP, and I haven't done it yet, is there was a new version of Markup RXP that has been rolled out, and it looks like you now have the ability to take, so this is a chart that's done on multiple pages. It looks like in Markup RXP that there is now an ability to take those disparate pages and mesh them into one. I haven't tried it myself, but I've loaded up a couple of new things into Markup RXP, and I'm getting these now. It's me, right? So I haven't gone and looked at the release notes, and I haven't gone and looked at the videos about what I'm supposed to be doing differently. I've just loaded up some new charts into Markup RXP, and I can see this different functionality. Like I say, I haven't tried it out, but I am going to try and do it for this particular one. I don't know that I'm going to do it this week, but at some point I'm going to try and get that to see if I can get it into one chart, and then I'll let you know how that goes. So that is my Quaker Christmas 2. I had a moment, so is that? Yeah, that's what it's called, Quaker Christmas 2. So this is, I'm not going to show this again for the whips, but this is one of my whips, obviously. Yes, it's going to be one of those episodes. It's going to be a lot of juggling. There's chaos around me. Okay, that's one. Okay, then I had a Christmas Day start planned, and it's me. So it didn't happen on Christmas Day, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but I'll show you what it was. So I started Little Bits of Christmas by the Drawn Thread. Now, the interesting thing, I'm going to take this out. Okay. So what I'm planning on doing is a variation of this. There's just going to be banging and crashing, I can just tell. Okay. So this is technically 3 squares across, 3 squares down. And so each of these designs can be stitched individually or together or whatever you want. And there are some extra ones. So they've got a couple of pages in here sort of showing you options of things of how you can stitch them. So my plan is to stitch 12 of these. 3 across, 4 down. This is to go on that sleigh that I showed. Yes, it's actually here within reasonable distance. As long as I don't trip on too many things. Remember the sleigh that I showed? So it's going to go on this. Yeah, because we're adding more things to the chaos. This is exactly what I need. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 across, 4 down. I'm starting with the so I'm going to do the Merry Christmas, and then I've got to figure out the arrangements of the other ones. The ones that I'm adding are Joy and Hope. Wait a minute, maybe it's Peace. Joy and Peace are the 2 other ones that I'm going to add to. So I'm going to do everything that you see in this one that's 3 by 3. Only take out the wreath, put in the Mary, and then there will be another row above it. So haven't quite decided on the exact placement of these. My plan is I've added this to my things that I'm stitching 1 day a month. Now theoretically my goal is that if I stitch 1 square every month on the 25th, and I started in December, the goal is that by the time we hit December of 2023, we will have, wait for it, a fully finished object, and it's going to go on the sleigh. That's the plan. Of course, I was going to get started on Christmas Day, and that didn't happen. So I don't know how the plan's going to work out. And it didn't get started on Christmas Day because my family had this very specific plan about what was happening on Christmas Day and when things were happening and all that kind of stuff. And by Christmas Eve, the entire plan got changed for a variety of reasons, which generally all related to health events. Anyway, so the whole plan for Christmas Day got changed. And one of the things in the afternoon, I ended up going to the hospital. A family friend of ours was unexpectedly taken into the hospital. She had to be taken by ambulance due to an incident at her home. She's on the mend, she's out of hospital, but I just had this thing where it's like, I can't, if you're in the hospital unexpectedly, she lost her husband sort of in the last year or so. Anyway, she doesn't have kids, so I just had this thing where I'm going like, I can't let her be in hospital by herself on Christmas Day. So I went up on Christmas Day afternoon and spent some time with her because She's like, what are you doing here? You should be busy. And I was like, yes, but it's Christmas Day and you can't be here by yourself. I will not allow that to happen. Anyway, so spent some time at the hospital. Anyway, got a few things. She was planning on taking a taxi home. So we had a little discussion about that. So later that week, I drove her home. I said, you're not taking a taxi. Anyway, so what am I doing this on? I am doing this on a 28 count. There's too many boards. I'm doing this on a 28 count Picture This Plus Serene Lugana. And I did not get an entire block finished. Now, part of that has to do that I'm still debating. It's looking a little bleached out, so it's a little more green, but it is a very, very pale green. So I did the IST, the MAS. I got the birds in there. I'm still debating whether the birds are bothering me. It's very, very interesting because I feel like they're starting to look a little red, which is weird, particularly on this one, because it's not really, the only place it's touching red is right down here. But anyway, dear Stitching at the Library people, you'll be seeing this and you'll get to, you know, opine on things. Anyway, so I got the red done. So when I bring it out on the 25th of January, I will need to have 2 blocks. These 2 blocks, my goal is to have them fully finished when I stitch on this on January 25th. And if I were smart, I would look and see what day of the week that is to see if there's a good chance of that happening. Now, I have my phone here because I need it. The 25th is a Wednesday. Okay, there's a possibility that could be a good stitching day. I have my phone here because I am going to be relying on a lot of the stuff in my X-Stitch app because I am using X-Stitch to record my starts and what I'm using, all my, the things that I'm using for those projects. So like as I was looking up for the Quaker Christmas II, it's in the X-Stitch app. So there's where I got to on that one. So it's a little bit of a start. So as you can tell, there's probably like, you know, that much more, and we'll have it. That'll be as wide as it goes so it fits on the sleigh. Sleigh, sled, take your pick. I feel like sleighs are bigger than sleds. Let's call it the sled. All right, so that was my new start. I was gonna say on Christmas Day. It wasn't Christmas Day, it was Boxing Day. I am not, as I'm looking here, I'm not necessarily using the red. The called for red is a Dinky Dyes Shades of Wine. And I do have Shades of Wine, and I didn't like it for this project. Now, part of it has to do, yeah, it's because I've got a hair. Part of it has to do with the fact that I know what I want to finish it on. So the red that I picked goes with the reds that's in the berries and all the stuff that's on the sled. So I am using Gloriana Poinsettia for that, for the reds in that one. Check back on the greens. I haven't quite decided. Still figuring it out. I have until the 25th to make some hard decisions. Yeah, I was gonna say there was one other thing, so like we'll talk about that in just a second. And then last, and oddly enough, I worked a little bit on Vimy Ridge, which is not very Christmas festive, but I just had a moment where I said to myself, you cannot finish out this year without finishing that one row of maple leaves. So I hauled it out, and that's all I did on this, was I finished up that one band of the maple leaves. All right, so I am doing this on, see, I can't remember anything today. I'm doing this on a 32 count Vintage Stormy Clouds Lugana. It's off the scroll frame, so you get to see everything. So all of this was done generally in November, and all I did was finish off this row here. Those maple leaves. So when this next comes out, that will be we'll be down here where I have the poppies and the quote. And I want to say that I think when I looked at it in Markup RXP, I was about 2/3 of the way through, which is interesting, but it could be correct. But yeah, I'm really, shouldn't have done that. I'm really enjoying how this looks on this Vintage Stormy Clouds. I wasn't sure when I started it if it was going to be the right fabric, but I'm pleased with it. Okay, so that's all the stitching I did in the last 2 weeks of 2022, which is not much, but as everybody knows, as you get to Christmas, things get busy. You're doing things, you're doing more things, or you're maybe more distracted by things. Anyway. Okay, so that's the stitching that I did. Now, just a couple of things, random weird things for you. So when I did the finish parade last week, I just thought you would be interested to know that I did, I showed you the StitchCon piece that was finished. Now this is not fully finished, but I did sort of fold it up and went, okay, how is it fitting into this box? Because this is the box that I bought at StitchCon that I'm planning on finishing this into. So now that I've seen this, I've decided I clearly am going to need some fabric to put behind it to cover up the back of the box. So that's one of the tasks, is to find that fabric, see what that looks like. But I think when it all gets finished, it's going to look lovely in there. So not fully finished, but you know, there's a concept. Hopefully in 2023, you will see that as a fully finished object. I've given myself a full year to maybe get that finished. And then, as one does when you're looking at things, that you have no intention of starting in the current year. Anywho, I don't know what's going on with my voice. It's been fine all day. All right. So I put together, you all know that I talked about that I went and bought the Quaker temperature chart by Sarah the Stitchin' Mummy on Etsy. I'll put a link to that because I love the concept. I am not planning on starting that this year. So that's why I deliberately went out and looked at things and decided on a color palette. These are the things you do on the Christmas break, right? Anyway, so I just thought I would show you. I've put it together I've put elastic bands so it's going to stay intact. This is what I think my palette is going to be for when I do my temperature Quaker. I'm not sure which year that's going to be, but I'm hoping in the next, like within the 5-year plan. It's not concretely in there yet, but you know. So this is my color palette starting from coldest to warmest. So unlike my previous Quaker one, the tree, which had some oranges and yellows and things like that, where I went, okay, those are tree leaf colors. This is a Quaker one and there's no oranges or yellows or anything like that. In case you're wondering, so there's 24 colors here. I'm going to hold it up close so you can see all of the numbers if you're interested. This is where my this is sort of where my 0 degrees Celsius is going to be. So this is the mid range of everything. So everything here is colder than 0 degrees Celsius. And from here up is the warmer. I'm not going to read out all the numbers. I'm just going to hold it up. And you should be able to see all of those numbers. If you have any questions about them, you can just let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know if you think this is going to work. I think this is going to work with how the Quaker temperature design looks. But as I said, I'm not starting it yet. Now, for me, one of the benefits of being late to a sal is that all the people who are really excited and getting to work on it right away, and we'll be doing it over the course of 2023, means that I will get to look at how other people's designs look as they're stitching it. So anyway, just like you, because you know that's quality stitching time was spent putting the palette together. Anyway, all right. Let's do stash quisitions, of which there are not many. You'll laugh when you see them. Yeah, they're on the floor. Okay, so this is one of them. Really, this is just a tablet holder. It's purple. It's a lavender. You'll never guess where it's for. It's for the sunroom. Okay, I keep telling myself we are past the winter solstice every day. It's getting lighter. I don't actually really feel that. I'm just telling myself that. I keep telling myself stitching in the sunroom is going to be coming back at some point here. But I did run across this in Winners, which is like the TJ Maxx of Canada. And I took one look at it and went, oh, of course I'm going to need you for the sunroom. So that came home. And then the other one you're going to laugh at because my plan is to stitch the two pillows from Helen Phillips that I talked about before to put in my that container that I got for the tea one. But I was a little concerned because I haven't done any of the math on what the size of the pillow is going to be and what I'm going to be stitching it on or anything like that. And yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm supposed to be stitching it on Friday and I haven't figured out what that is. But while I was in Winners and I found that, I went through the tea section again and they had one more tea tin. This is the Trooping of the Color one. So it is a Trooping of the Color with the Queen. So there she is in the coach with a couple of other pictures of her. So that came home as well. So I now have 2 tins so that each pillow can have its own tin. See, stitching related. Which one belongs in which tin is yet to be decided, but anyway. All right, so those are the stash quisitions for this week. Stitching at the library. Just to let you know, I'm having, it's been a little bit interesting trying to book the stitching at the library. Right now, it looks like I can't find a spot at any of the libraries that would be for the 3 hours in the morning. So I am looking into some options for that. Hopefully by the time I record the next video, I will have done, figured out that booking for where that's going to be. But just a quick little notice, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it done in the morning. I've actually looked at multiple locations and it's not looking good. So I think it's going to be an afternoon one. I'm just looking for one where I can get the biggest time block for us. And then when we have that one, we may have a little bit of a discussion about where some of the options are. And certainly by the time we have that stitching at the library, I'll know how things are looking for February. Because certainly in January, the Saturdays are pretty booked. Anyway, this is very weird. I don't know what's going on with my voice. All right, next. Okay, we're into the topic. This is my WIP Parade, and I'm really glad that I'm doing this because I want to make sure that I've got a recording of where I'm starting the year at on all of these projects. Because I think it will be fascinating to do, see where I get to by the end of the year. This is where it's going to get very, very, very chaotic. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start with my oldest WIP, which has been worked on the least. This is the Polar Mandala by Chatelaine Designs. You saw this, I was working on it in, I don't know, August, September, somewhere in that time frame. I have very little done on this. I'm still in the center square, which is all done over one. I am doing this on a 32 count antique white Lugana. Crash, bang, boom. It's just, it's not going to go well. I was looking, going, I'm not even sure which way it goes. I do know which way it goes. It's not the right one. Where'd it go? Where did that other board go? It is. Okay, here it is. And how do I know this is the top? This is the top because I know that I got, one of my goals was to make it all the way to the very top of the square. So pretty much that's what I did. I know, not a lot. There's very little done on this. There is a long, long way to go on this. So yeah, we'll see how I do on this one. We'll see how often it comes out. Okay, so that's Polar. All right, then I'm theoretically trying to do these in the order in which they were started. So I'm probably going to get some of them in the wrong way. Okay, this is Summer Notes by Shepherd's Bush. I started this in May of 2020. I think I was doing Stitch Sania. There's only a tiny little bit done on this. It's a small piece and there's only a little bit done. The interesting thing about this is that the lake that this boat is on was stitched before, but I was unhappy with the blue that I used, so I ripped out the blue. Now I think I've decided on what the blue should be, so I think it's ready to get stitched on again. But that is my starting point for Summer Notes by Shepherd's Bush, and I'm stitching this on a 32 count ice blue Lugana. If I put them at the back, I'll know when I'm done, right? Okay. Then this is going to be a funny one. This is Butterfly Square by Little Leaf Designs. And I am stitching this on fantastic. No idea. I'm gonna say it's a 28 count opalescent linen. So here's where I'm at. So what am I missing? I am missing, there's beads that need to go on this, and there's some stitching here that's sort of to connect this blue ring with the inner green ring and the button. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's more to do than that. Because I have decided that it needs to be stitched twice, so I have the second piece ready to go, and I want to make it into a pillow that's exactly the same on both sides. Now, it's going to get interesting because I don't have two of the same butterfly charms, and that's fine. I'll just put a different butterfly charm on the other side. And the reason why I decided I need to do two of them is because there's enough of the variegated floss left over to do another one. That's what I'm telling myself. So that's why that one's not quite done. It's the closest to, is it the closest? I don't know. Anyway, that's Butterfly Square. Okay. Then we have the one that Girly loves the best. And she wishes I would work on a lot more than I do. This is Jerusalem by Thea Gouverneur. I am using all of the kit materials. So I want to say that I'm doing this on a 36 count linen. I'm using the linen that came in the kit. And I started this in 2020 as my Lent piece, but I was doing it in 2020 where I was only stitching it for like up to an hour and then putting it away and working, because that's when I was working on the Marbeck Nativity. Anyway, so it wasn't making fast progress. So in 2020, no, that's not true. Did I start it in 2020? When did I start it? No, I started it in 2021 for my Lent piece. I used it as my Lent piece for 2022 as well, but the goal in 2022 was to really spend all of my Lent stitching on it, so I made a lot more progress. This is also my widest piece. So there we are on Jerusalem. So what happened is, so I really finished the top of this arch plus pretty much everything you see over here. So I made really good progress this year on this piece. Don't kid yourself. There's a lot left to go. I think there's a total of eight pages, and I think I'm not finished 2. I'm finished 1. I don't think I've finished 2 yet. So there's a lot left to go. All right. Then, okay, so that one was out of order. Then we have The Work of Christmas by My Big Toe. That's where I'm at on this one. So, as I say, I don't think I've actually hit the 50% mark on this yet. This is sort of the middle band. There's still words to go on the top. The reason why I say I don't think I'm at 50% yet is because there's a big Quaker motif that goes here on the bottom that I haven't finished. I haven't started because I'm planning on changing the colors. It's a monochromatic with one specific color, and I think I'm going to turn it into a multicolored motif. But that's where I'm at. And really, what did I do on this one? I think I did some work on some of the words up here, and I did all of that band. This is being stitched on a 28 count ice blue Lugana, and I started this on March the 1st of 2021. So 2021, and it's still not done, and I don't even think I'm at 50% yet. Who is it that I was watching where they said, I think the problem is that I like big projects? And I kind of went, oh, I hear you on that one. Positive. This really has done a doozy. There it is. All right. Whew. Man, it got stuck. All right, next up. Anne Morrison by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This was a limited edition chart that you could only get through Traditional Stitches. It is now out of print. So I started this on April the 1st, 2021. I am stitching this on I really do have to look all of it up. It's easy when you work on it. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Vintage Blue Whisper, the old Vintage Blue Whisper, because the current, if you were to buy Vintage Blue Whisper, it looks quite different than this. The concept is the same, but it looks different. And I am using my own color palette for this. So as you can see, I still haven't made my decision on what to do with that one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, we need to change that, but anyway. I did make progress. This is why it's good to do the WIP parades, because I don't remember where. I feel like I did all of the numbers, and I filled in, there were some missing bands, and I did this alphabet, or certainly those letters for sure, this year. Not a ton of progress, but some is always better than none. All right, then that's not correct. Where did it go? The one that it was stuck to. This is April's Blue Diamond by Mirabilia. And I am stitching this on 32 count Arial Lugana by Picture This Plus, using all of the called for fibers. So what really happened is I finished off the blue down here in sort of the ruffle at the bottom, plus all of the green in the beginning of the flowers was what got accomplished this year. I would like to make a really big dent in getting this to a finish in 2023. So this was started May 1, 2021. Now, I still feel like I had a very successful 2022 because what happened, so I generally do a Mirabilia May, but so what happened in 2022 for Mirabilia May was I finished Fairy Winter Dream and I finished Vixen from the Christmas Eve Couriers and did a little bit on this one. So hopefully this year this is going to get a lot more focus to try to get this a lot closer to a finish. I don't know that it has to be finished this year, but we need to move up. Now, and like every Mirabilia, like there's a bajillion, all of those blank spots where you can see the fabric coming through, certainly in the lower part of the dress, all of that is beads that are waiting to go on. So once you get finished the stitching, there's still quite a bit left to go because you have to do all of the beading. All right, here's one of my whips of shame. Why do I call it a whip of shame? Because it got no attention this year at all. At all, at all, at all, which is terrible. So this is on my for sure must be worked on in 2023. This is actually, I should show you the picture. I don't know how everybody else does this. Okay, this is Canadian Patriotic Sampler by Jeannette Douglas. Now, I will say I am making some adjustments to the bottom half of this. You know I'm not good about following a chart. Following a chart concept. Anyway, so here's where this is at. So one of the things, so this was supposed to be worked on in June of 2022, which, as I said in my last video, June screwed everything up because I ended up going to StitchCon and then I worked on other things that unexpectedly came up. So this got neglected. One of the things that has to happen is I miscounted where this square goes. So this has to get unstitched. Now this is done with a silk, so this is not being ripped out. This is being unstitched. So I can recover that silk, and then I'm going to get it placed properly so I continue on. I am doing this on I want to say it's a 32 count pearl gray Lugana. And the words here, the called for color is Gloriana Arroyo, and I am stitching it with Karen Water Lily's graphite. Because I changed the fabric from platinum to a gray, I felt that Arroyo was just too brown to work on this, so I changed the words to more of a gray. And that is Karen Water Lily's graphite. With, yep, look at more maple leaves. Next up, this is my, oops, that's not good, that's the chart. Shouldn't show that. Apparently I have, oh, there it is. This is my temperature tree by Sarah the Stitchin' Mommy on Etsy. I started this, I want to say August of 2021. I'm pretty sure it was August. Yes. August of 2021. I am doing this on Summer Sky Jobelin with my own color scale. Oops. Show the chart. That's the page I pulled out. This is the one that I've got that's closest to a finish. So as you can see, all I have left to do, well, what I have left to do, so I have to do the December branch. I am doing this for the year 2021 because it was a year of extremes for where I live. I am planning on putting the numbers 2021 in the center part of the tree branch, of the trunk of the tree. There's four numbers in that, and so I'm planning on doing the highest temperature of the year, the lowest temperature of the year, the average temperature, and the median temperature are going to be the colors that I'm going to use to stitch those four numbers in the trunk of the tree. And then I'm planning on taking individual leaves and stitching them along the bottom, along here, to show the color gradation from coolest to warmest, and then putting the location below that. Now, technically, if I really put my mind to this, it would probably take me about a week's worth of stitching to get this done. We'll see when this comes out how fast it goes. I still think it looks fantastic. I love it. I love it on the Summer Sky Jobelin. It's a 32 count Summer Sky Jobelin because I have another piece of it the exact same size, because I'm also wanting to stitch this again, do another tree, yep, another temperature tree for the year, for my first year of life. So it technically won't necessarily start with January. Now I will say my birthday is in December, I'm a December baby, so it won't necessarily move the colors that much, but it will start on my birthday, December 15th, and it will be very cold. It was very cold when I was born. Anyway, I always laugh because the big story is so I was born on a Sunday. My mom and dad had a Christmas party at their house on December 14th. At their house, my mom was hosting a Christmas party on December 14th. They had the party and I was born at noon. Right, exactly at noon. It's not 12:01 or 11:59. I was born at noon on Sunday, December the 15th. And anyway, my mom always likes to say, like, it's the most organized they've ever been for their Christmas cards, because every Christmas card was ready to go, and she and Dad spent the next 2 days at the hospital. They used them as birth announcements. So they sent out all the Christmas cards. Anyway, they took me out to church. So I went to church. My mom took me out to church the following week, so on Sunday, December 22nd, and it was very, very cold, to the point where people thought she was crazy for bringing me out. Could be why I'm cold all the time. I'm blaming my mom. Isn't that what we do? Anyway, so when I do my second tree, it will start on December 15th. And then when you buy the temperature tree chart, she does give you the extra leaf for a leap year. Not that the leap year comes into play, but it does mean I can start on December 15th and end on December 15th, my first birthday, and chart that way. So that's what my two charts are going to be like. I found some frames for this. So I even have the frames and everything for it, for how they're going to get framed. So yes, I'm going to have them side by side somewhere at some point when they get done. All right. I feel like we've got to be at least halfway. All right, next up. Ink circles, bee's knees. I am stitching this on .32 count Lilac Lugana, and I'm using the Called For Valdani silk. This is one where I keep saying to myself, it needs to come off with the scroll rods and go back into the bag. And really what I got done this year is just filling it. So what I started the year with was kind of like the 4 points of a compass effectively, and I filled in this bit. So again, not a lot of progress on this year. And there's a whole, so there's 3 more of those to go, plus a whole outer border. So again, I don't even think that I'm 50% of the way through this. If I had markup RXP handy, I could tell you what the percentage is, but it's not handy. That is bee's knees. goes the ring light. All right, let's redeem this. Hang tight. There it goes. I'm back. Okay. Really should record on a Sunday. Okay, next up. Okay, this is Stony Creek Tapestry of Life. This is an out-of-print Stony Creek chart. I am stitching this on a 32 count ice blue linen. So that's where I'm at. Slow progress on this one. I was leaving this out because I was going to try to finish getting these sides done. They're not done yet. They're not done yet. I failed on that one. This is heading up to the top. This is section number 1, section number 2, section number 3 of words. There's a lot left to go on this one. It'll be lovely at the end though. That's what I keep telling myself. This is my other whip of shame because it got no love this year at all. It's Christmas Quilts by Rosewood Manor. And I am stitching this. I'm pretty sure it's a 32 count. .32 count opalescent white Lugana. This is my December start. So this is the one that I was going to spend, theoretically a week on this year, this December, and it didn't happen because I knew where I was coming in, that it was going to be multiple color changes and time was getting away from me. So yes, there's only a little bit done on this. It will be lovely at the end. It will be lovely at the end. Just look at how wonderful that Christmas looks. Anyway. It needs to get some love this year. Okay. So up to there, other than those first few, which were 2020 starts, everything that I've just shown you was started in 2021 and remains unfinished. Do I feel bad about that? No. I'm okay. So these next few projects, so I did pretty well in 2022 about a lot of the things that I started in 2022 ended up being finished in 22, which is why I had a really good finishing year. What did I say I had? 28 project finishes in 2022, which, like I say, it's a record for my life. But there are a few projects that I started in 2022 that are carryovers. So this is Northern Expressions Celtic Snow. I am stitching this on a 28 count Midnight Tryst Jobelin. Midnight Tryst, yep, 28 count Jobelin, because the Jobelin is critical by Fabrics by Stephanie. If you get Midnight Tryst on a Lugana, it doesn't look like this at all, so cautionary note, the Lugana for Midnight Tryst does not look like this. The linen Midnight Tryst is darker than this. I am using the called for dinky dyes on this. So what I got, shouldn't have put it away. So really what I got started was the bottom part of the snowflake. There's a bajillion and a half beads to go on this at the end. So yes, there's a lot of stitching left to go on this. Look at that outer border. There's a lot of stitching left to go on this and a lot of beads. I think this is one of her earlier ones. On some of the later ones, she specifically puts the number of beads that you need for each color, but there's a lot left to go on this one as well. But I'm glad that it's started, which is the critical part. Really hard to get a finish if it hasn't been started, right? Then in May, as part of Mirabilia May, the treat for finishing Fairy Winter Dream and Vixen by the Christmas Eve Courier, the Nora Corbett Vixen, part of the Christmas Eve Couriers, was I got to start another Nora Corbett because it's small. And so I started Sweet Pea. I had a moment where I'm like going, where's the fabric? I am stitching this on a, I'm pretty sure it's a 32 count. Count. Summer Sky Jobelin by Witchelt. Using the called for threads. So it was a pretty good start. I'm a center starter. Well, on this one I'm a center starter. Sometimes it's a center top. Anyway, am I consistent? Not necessarily. There's only 3 left to go. Okay, this one you've seen before. In September, I started Remember 911 by Just Nan. I figured it was time it actually got stitched. I am stitching this on the 11th of every month. Did not bad on how this is going. Slow start, but it was picking up. I've got the first, how many bands done? I'm up to band 5 of 21. It will be interesting in January to see how many bands I can get accomplished on my, so I only stitch on this 1 day a month. And then later, so this is my start that I started for Queen Elizabeth's, another Queen Elizabeth memorial piece, yes. I started this, did I start this on the day of the funeral, or is this the one I started the day after the funeral because I didn't get as much stitching done? I thought I was going to stitch during the funeral and then, you know, ended up watching the funeral. So this is the Queen Elizabeth Memorial chart by Visters off of Etsy. I did this. So the design here is sort of a replica of the design that was on her coronation dress. And so I got the ER, sort of her cipher, the first bit of her cipher done. All done in Petite Treasure braid. So this will come back out again once I get those 2 Helen, oh, I wish I, Phillips, those 2 pillows that will go in the 2 tea tins. This will come back out again. The memorial pieces, I am stitching on the 6th of every month, which was the date of the anniversary of when she became queen. So the date of her father's death. And then my last whip, it's like I'm through all of this, yes. My last whip is Art to Heart. Bittersweet Pumpkins, which is my October start, and wait for it. This is a rarity in my world. I'm stitching this on a 32 count platinum Lugana. And as we all know, platinum for me, it's very brown. It's very brown. There's where I got to on that one. Like I say, I'm happy with my progress on this. This was a new start in October. I felt I made decent progress on this. There's a lot left to go, as I say, on all of them. This at least is a much smaller piece of fabric, but there's a lot left to go. It's a very, very dense stitch. You know, so we stitch all of the bottom, and it's a very dense stitch. Look at that white pumpkin, a lot in there. Anyway, it's a good start. I was happy with my start on this one. So there you go. I want to say it's 19, but I'm thinking maybe it's 20. Anyway, whatever the number is, those are the whips. So here's the caveat. This is what I'm calling the active whips. I do have other projects that I've started that I have not worked on in years. In years. I will fully admit that it's been years, and in some cases many, many years since they've been worked on. I am not calling them UFOs because I still like them. And at some point, they will come back into the rotation. So I don't have any UFOs. I just have some, I call them, they're on the reserve list. They're started. They're not finding their way into my plans for what I'm actively working on. But I'm not getting rid of them because I still like them. And at some point, they'll come back up and I'll go, I want to work on those. So there are a few more. There's, I'm going to call it sub 10. Probably at least 5. Certainly not more than 10. 10 feels a little high. So they're on the reserve list. They could come out at any time. I make no promises about changing the plan up and doing something else. But they're certainly not ones that I'm looking at going like, I want to work on these imminently. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's going to be great because my plan is also to take pictures of all of these because I want to have my starting point for everything for 2023, because I think it will be fascinating at the end of this year to see what I get accomplished. With that, I hope you've had a good week. As always, thinking of the people of the Ukraine, some of the stories come out of the Ukraine, and seeing some of the people that I follow on Instagram, what they're dealing with. Yeah, when there's war, conflict going on anywhere in the world, it's not good. And it's certainly very hard on the people that are living through that. Anyway, so thinking of the people of the Ukraine as always. I hope you had a wonderful new year. Yes, the clock is rolling over. It's a new year. I hope it's always good to sort of think of it. It's a new start. You get to reset, new goals, new projects, new whatever it is. So I hope that you're entering the new year with positive thoughts and looking forward to the stitching that you're going to get done. As always, safety first, safety first, safety first. It's my favorite saying, safety first. So I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy, and I hope you're finding enjoyment in your stitching. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday for my next Flosstube. Take care.